Well, you know, you watch your analytics. The most popular film last week was on the Clarke Garage. How many was there?
900 or something.
900 and some views. And when we looked, I thought, I haven't done a review on the Clarke's Garage. And the last one I did was 3 years ago. So this is the 4-year update. The good thing about YouTube, you can instantly go back in your memory, can't you? You can put in Clarke, bang. All of a sudden, every film that Reggie's put on, Reggie on the Road, and it's included the name Clarke, all of a sudden it's there. This YouTube is instant and amazing. Anyway, little job today, before we do the review, little job. We're, can you see this drip? This condensation drip, which I guess has always been there, and which as you expect, it's a tent. It's not a problem. But where it is a problem is up at the top here. Hold on, Deb. Can I get the steps and get a closer look at it? Yeah. Let's have a closer look. Ooh. Where it is a problem. You spotted it, didn't you, Deb? You saw spots of rust on the car. Let's go up here. Can you see where the tube is rusting a little bit? And what's happening is the condensation is coming along, finding the nearest and easiest place to drop off. They're going drop, drop, drop. And this little bolt is rusting away. I don't think it's, no, it's one of them push pin things. Look how you connect it together. It's working fine, except it's, as it would, it's outside, isn't it? You don't expect anything else. And it's going drip, and what's dripping is, as you can see, a bit of filthy, rusty water. So, luckily, well, luckily or unluckily, we only wanted a bit of corner trim. We only wanted probably a foot of it. So we went off to try and buy some, and we couldn't buy some. We had to buy a whole bleeding length of it, remember? It was 40 quid. It was important that we needed this little corner piece of trim. And I remember cursing because I think we had to pay 40 quid for the whole length of the damn thing. Anyway, we did in the end, and that's fixed. It's no big deal, but we were left with this, and so guttering would do the same job. So what we're going to do, we're going to hang this corner piece. I was going to rip to the front, but I'm going to rip to the back. I'm going to use this trim corner piece, so I'm going to run it so at least the water will drip and it will come to the back and it'll drop behind the car and miss the car. That's the plan anyway. So let's get that done first. See, it's quite rusty up there. Only surface rust. It's not structural or nothing. It's the dirty water that's dropping off it, isn't it? The rusty water. So let's get this done and then we'll finish off our review. So let's continue with the review. Look, we looked at that. It's not going to. I've made a positive fall. I've used paracord because I don't want anything to be touching or rubbing or causing any more wear and tear on the sheet. So I've used paracord. You can use cable ties, I guess, but I thought cable ties might be a bit more harsh maybe. But anyway, that's going to drip down here out the way. It's only going to be a drip at a time. It's not going to be, and of course when the wind comes and rattles it, I've made it loose enough. I've made it loose enough so it'll rattle around on its own without impacting. See, without impacting the sheet or touching the sheet. So, we'll try that. So this is, well, we're coming into 2005, so this is 4 years old now. Really, really, really pleased with it for the price we've paid for it. We've anchored it down. We got this. We knocked off the tap. Make sure you've got no gas. Leave it open for a few days, and then they do unthread, opposite thread. I couldn't get mine to unthread, so I just smacked it with an hammer and then filled it full of water. Yeah, so this is full of water and that's full of water, and the strap goes up outside of the frame and down, and that holds it, this front end of it. So 2 of those, and then here I had some oxygen bottles within themselves that are heavy. Again, took the gauges off it, filled it full of water. The strap, it's not too tight, but it's tight enough, you know, and that goes up and around and over, and that's what secures that in place here. And then the rear end, these 45-gallon drums are full of water. That's full of water, and that's full of water. And if you can see behind it, they're sitting on a plank. So I've connected this down to the plank down there, and the 45-gallon drums of water are holding the plank down. So it's done. Oh, excuse me, rear. I have got one external strap. Now, this is right up against the building. So it is protected, and it's more or less lower than, or the same size as the building. So it doesn't stick out in the wind. Can you see that wall behind us? That's the neighbour's wall, or the wall between us. And I did put an external strap on it, on the frame. I did see that blue strap there. I have put one strap that goes over the top, because that back did blow out. But I think it was more my fault than anything else. I didn't do the folding, or there was a little hole and I left it to flap about. I should have been on top of it straight away. But you know, behind here is wall. The wall comes to there, see? So it doesn't get mangled much, except it gets the gust. And of course, we are lucky that it is behind this big door. This big door shuts, and when it's shut, so it doesn't get hammered like if it was out in the open. The other thing we did with this is, now I'll tell you what's good about it. What was excellent, this front panel, the zip went probably in year number 3. So it does get hammered, opened and shut every day. Well, when we first bought it, it did really well, because do you remember Debbie's little Mustard, the car we've just got rid of, the little Peugeot that Debbie got rid? Well, it looked after it. You know, it was locked down and Debbie was working from home, and so we had a brand new car sitting in here. We brought it to do a job and it never did it. We bought it to go to Shrewsbury every day, but then lockdown came and Debbie worked from home. So it sat here and it protected it. You know, there was no twigs, no leaves landing on it. The rain wasn't getting to it. And also the sun wasn't getting to it. It was quite a warm year that year, I remember. So that it protects it from the sun and protected it from the rain and the frost. In the worst of the frost. We've had snow on here. I have had to come in the past and get the brush and shove all the snow off. So we have had, we're not in a very snowy area. Let's say over its life, it's had 10 loads of snow that stuck onto it. So that was very good. Now here, this door, it's only a flap, and it's a bit of a pain to... So what we did, well, obviously we went on the internet, and the internet said, put a plastic tube, put a tube inside it. There's 2 tubes. Let me just show you this. Do you see? Do you see how we've put the tube and then cut a line down the tube and put the sheet? So inside here, I don't know if you'll see it, is a copper tube. So you know a plumbing, you know a water pipe copper tube. So there's a water pipe copper tube in there. That's what gives it its weight. Even on its own, even fairly windy, it's It's not heavy, but it's enough to hold it in place. And then on top of that, you get a piece of this plastic tubing and you cut a line down it. So if you can imagine, it squeezes. There is a stitch seam in there to do that. So copper tube, plastic tube on top of that protects it. And then of course, I put the extension bits on it because I built the gallows. I don't know, had you noticed them? We're calling these the gallows. Because, so now you've got the plastic tube. Hold on, you've got the plastic tube. You've got the copper tube inside the webbing, shall we call it. Put the plastic on top of that. And because you buy them in standard lengths, you won't get one this long. You can't buy a plastic tube this long. So we got a slightly bigger tube, cut it, and fitted it over the top. And then just put a little bolt on the end of it. So that's going to enable us. Let me roll this up and show you. Hold on a minute. Because of the slight weight, what's it weigh, a bag of sugar? Because of the weight of the copper tube, plus the plastic tube around it, plus the end, is enough to stretch it, to roll it. So you can roll it really, really tight, very, very easily. Yeah. And what we do, that's all we do is hold that. And what this was just four 4x2s. Make sure you get this weatherproof stuff. There's inside wood and there's outside wood. This is this outside wood. I haven't done anything to it. I haven't painted it or given it any sort of treatment, which I should really, probably this year. Well, it wasn't meant to stop here. It's one of those things, you know. It wasn't meant to stop, but it did. And when I first built it, you see, I built it in mind not to make any holes in, not to cut the wood. You could bolt this across like that. Hold on, let's go that side. You could bolt this across, but there was no real way of doing it except going through the wood. But to get a bolt through that wood, you're taking a lot of its strength off, wasn't it? So I decided to do two where there's plenty of meat, put one there, another piece of wood here, and clamp it. So this bolt here is actually clamped without affecting the strength of the main beam. So I made a square, you see, that's bolted in across there. This is bolted in across the bottom here, look. And so A, it gives you adjustment, but B, it gives you, this bolt isn't through a hole, it's just pinched between these two. Because I didn't want to weaken it by trying to drive a hole through the middle of it. So one there, pinched it with another piece of wood here, and that's the way I did that. And then of course across, and it was square. And I thought it was going to hold. Anyway, I came out, there are the films there. I came out the next day, the damn thing had twisted over. Twisted over! Because I hadn't braced it, had I? No. And I had a load of these bars at the time. So all we did was we got the end of a bar, we turned it into a loop, and we shoved it on the end of the, and so it's braced here, and we wanted some adjustment, so we just bolted an end, but welded a bolt on the end, and this has been our adjustment just to tighten it up. So we got one going this way here, and then on the other side we've got one going the opposite way, top to bottom here and bottom to top here, so it forms a cross which then braces it this way. Yeah, then I put the wood across, and at the top again a homemade, got myself a connection in there, look, welded a nut on the end and used that connection there and used that connection there, came across again up to the top. Again, we needed some sort of an adjustment, so again I welded a bolt on here and a bolt on there, and these will adjust in together to give it some sort of tension. You know, we tensioned it up. Not too hard, because it just moves everything, it just holds everything. So now we're braced for going this way, and then we are braced for going that way. Obviously you could do it in many different ways. You could have done that in timber. I'm not very good at doing joints or making things level, but so you got to just do what makes it happen. And on the floor we've put a bit of gravel on the bottom under the sitting. It's not actually fixed to the floor. It's sitting on top of planks, sitting on top of scaffolding planks. That's all it is. It's not actually drilled into the floor or anything. Again, look, sitting on planks that run across, because I wasn't very good at connecting. See, she sits on a plank, you know, screwed in, but only screwed into a scaffolding plank. So what's doing the holding is the straps are holding, the weight is holding it down. And I'm really pleased. If this winter comes and breaks it, I'll be well satisfied. I didn't realise this is year number 4 and the Clarke's Garage has done exceptional. What did we pay for it? I don't even think we paid about 350 quid or something. I don't, you know. Oh, I was going to tell you about the door. We've replaced this door panel, and the good thing about it, inside it, is the instruction and the part number. So we simply rang Clarke's up and we said, blah, 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 can we have this part number? And they sent the part number. It was replaced, and lovely sips, and they're all right. But it gets open and closed 5 days a week. So these sips do get used heavily. When they begin to wear, all you have to do is clamp up the end of it, shut the air tightly, and you'll get a bit more, you know, another year out of them. But even so, this, 5 days a week this gets used. Well, and if we take the car out on a Saturday or a Sunday, it gets used on a Saturday and a Sunday. So it's not an ornament, and it works well. So we just put our little bit of guttering in now. Anything would do. Just it'll catch the drip here, and it should slowly flow down here. I've bolted them together. Hopefully there's enough flow to encourage it to go down that way. Looking at the top there, it doesn't need to be much of a flow, but it's up tight there. It comes here, and it definitely falls away from here enough. Not low enough that it's going to touch the car or nothing. And it's just to catch the drips, the rusty drips, and it'll catch them off that one, and this one, and this one. But this is the one that started it all off. Anyway, exceptional. Really, really good value for money. If you consider what else you're going to do, you know what, polytunnel, much the same as a polytunnel. Okay, it's not outside. It's not inside like in a wooden shed, but it is well protected. You know, you do get condensation, you do get drips, you know, which is what you expect. Would you put another lining inside it? Well, you could do loads to it, couldn't you? But if you've got something you want to look after, fairly precious, like, you know, and again, the big blue goes in here. So if you've got a brand new car that you want to look after and keep covered, and, you know, it's way better than outside, way better than twigs. There's no fireworks going to hit it on fireworks night. There's no frost, it doesn't freeze in here. If you just hate the car being frozen up in the morning, it's good enough to, if exceptionally, fair enough, I think it does, but otherwise it don't. If you bring the car in dry and it freezes up overnight, it's okay. Obviously, if you bring the car in wet and then it freezes overnight and the car hasn't had a chance to drip dry, then it does the freeze. But generally, yeah, really pleased with it. Yeah, great. Bigger ones. Is it 12 foot wide? Anyway, 12 by 18 or 20, something like that. I did actually, I was very lucky. I measured it wrong. I measured it from the end of the step to here, but then realised there was a door there. So we had to push it back on top of this step here. So it does go, it does fit on uneven ground if you play with it. We had to play with this corner a bit to make it fit, but it did in the end, you know. So it doesn't have to be on perfect ground. Obviously it helps. And there's plenty of room. If I got rid of that rubbish there, there'd be even more room, but plenty of room to open the door on the big blue. Just be careful. Hold on a minute. Stupid thing, come on. I've got the key in my pocket. Hold on a minute. Let's open it. It's getting used to knowing what it does, and the crazy thing about it is the Ford does something completely different, so I'm always getting confused. So look, it does catch, but you just be careful. But there's plenty of room to get in and out your car. Either side, doesn't touch the sides, does it? And you know, it's good enough for us to keep our new car in there. Perfectly happy with it. So it's quite good for camouflage. It's the right colour for camouflage, isn't it? And in our case, it's behind a locked chain gate. Okay, it's not security wise, but we've got a padlock and a chain on it. So we do keep it. It's well secured and it's low enough. It's not a high thing, you know what I mean? Nobody knows it's here. Well, only you and me. He is, gorgeous boy, on his bed. Yeah. Making a plan. Oh damn, she's picked up all them hairs I've given you for free. How can I give you some more hairs? He's making a plan. Debbie's been over there hoovering and, you know, doing the thing that she does. And he's not been happy. You've been round his bed, haven't you?
I've moved his bed, I've took the Christmas tree down.
Yeah, Christmas tree's gone. So he's thinking, right, how can I replace all them hairs that...
I've moved his head back, his bed back over that way.
Every day he gives us a layer of hairs, and every day Debbie picks them up, and every day he comes back the next day and gives us another layer of hairs. And he's lovely when he's asleep like that, isn't he?